Well, howdy, everyone. Welcome to Club Divorcee, where we go from broken to blessed together. I am Elizabeth, and I am here with
Angela.
And we are here in Carmel, Indiana, not Carmel, Carmel, Indiana, at an office space called Diamond Brothers, and it is commercial insurance, not a jewelry store.
Not a jewelry store like I thought we were going to.
Yes. But this place is pretty cool. They actually insure a very big company here in Indiana called Eli Lilly, in case anyone's ever heard of them. They used to insure Indy 11, which is why you see all this really cool memorabilia around us here. So in case anyone doesn't know what that is, that's actually our professional soccer team here in Indiana. So thank you, Mommy Dearest, for letting us host here and hang out at Diamond Brothers. And thank you for everyone who's shown up here live. And thank you for everyone who's hanging out live on Facebook. And if you haven't yet subscribed to YouTube, because our goal is to eventually go YouTube Live instead of Facebook Live. And if anyone ever has any comments or questions, feel free to shoot on the video live, and we can see your guys' feedback and what all you guys might like to share in regards to our topic today. Also, if you have any additional questions or comments, you're welcome to send us an email. The email address is hello@clubdivorcee, 2 E's by the way, .com. Again, it's hello@clubdivorcee.com. So today's going to be a really deep topic, and it's a very heavy topic. Of course, people don't want to talk about divorce, but people really don't want to talk about the feelings,
Right.
much less the emotion and the feeling of grief. Grief is heavy, grief is real, and it happens. And out of the research and the things to talk about today, and I know you have your stuff that you want to talk about, especially the scripture part, some of the businesses and companies and things that I researched, the topics I do give credit to are some that are fatherly.com. It's divorce grief that is real, and there's 16 tips about this, and we'll get to that in a minute. Forbes Advisor, actually ChatGPT had some really good comments on there. There's an article about the 5 stages of grief. There's also a website called Psychology Today. There were some YouTube videos, but I will say none of them came from a church. I really, really, really struggled finding YouTube videos of any pastor talking about divorce grief.
Wow.
Now, there's grief everywhere.
Right.
There's pastors who talk about grief. There's pastors who talked about loss of loved ones, loss of a dog, whatever the case may be. But I did not see one video about a pastor talking about divorce grief. So if anyone's listening into this, please, please, please share if you know of one, because I did not see one at all. Another article is called Understanding Divorce Grief. There's also a website called Psych Central and another one called The Unleashed Heart. So I wanted to give the shout out to give the credit to where credit is due. When we're talking about our grief, I'm going to have just a couple of stats that I saw that I wanted to share, but also how do I know if I have it? How do I know if I'm grieving? And then there's actually stages of grief. For people who are going through grief in itself, there's actually an average of 5 stages of grief. For those going through divorce grief, there's actually 7 stages. So that was kind of interesting to learn, the 2 extras. So we'll get into that in a minute. We'll also talk about the unhealthy ways to cope, the healthy ways to cope, and then we'll kind of kick it off with the conclusion in addition to some Bible scriptures.
Yeah.
So some interesting stats. I had just 2 that I wanted to come up with. The first one, 60% of divorced individuals report their experience of grief and loss, equivalent to those who have lost a loved one. So I find that one very interesting, that 60% of people actually admit to having these emotions when people generally don't like to talk about their emotions.
Right.
So it was just an interesting stat. But the next one was actually kind of heart heavy on this one. Divorce increases suicide by 23% in women.
Yeah.
And by 33% in men. And that's within the first 2 years of the divorce.
Oh, that's awful.
Oh, terrible. Terrible. So hence why talking about grief is such an important topic to talk about. And I know, again, it's not something we want to talk about. It's not, grief just isn't losing a loved one on this earth. It's not about just losing your favorite pet of so many years. When you are going through a divorce, you're losing a person through the divorce. You're losing a person that you said I do to. You are losing what your future could be like. You're losing a lot.
Yeah.
It
and
is
you're
grief.
not losing that person and then not being able to see them anymore.
Mhm.
You, in most cases, we have to see that person on a continual basis
Right?
at every drop off, at every event, at every sport. So
Mhm.
and you're just, it's like reliving the grief all over again.
Every day.
Because you've lost so much of what you thought your marriage was going to be
Mhm.
in that person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally. So it does happen in a divorce. So one of the things I want to talk about, this is actually a really good list from ChatGPT.
Okay.
So I got on there. I'm like, okay, how do I know if I'm grieving during my divorce? Especially since a lot of people don't really talk about their emotions, much less know how to feel their
Mhm.
feelings. So one of the first things that it mentions is the emotional wave that you will go through. You will have sudden sadness or crying spells. You will have anger. You'll feel numb. That's the big one that I kept hearing over and
Mhm.
over and over again in my research, the feeling of numb. And I remember I was numb. There's moments of relief followed by guilt. And there's a side note here saying, just FYI, don't call yourself crazy because it's completely normal if you actually have all these emotions happen in one day. Because it can happen. It's not a menopause thing. It's not like, yeah, I'm 50, I'm old, I don't know, whatever it may be. It's all in one. It all can happen in one day. That is normal.
Did you experience any of the emotions in your divorce? Like, can you pinpoint when you experienced some of those?
So now that I have been divorced, oh my gosh, what year is it? 26?
26.
How long have I been divorced? 6 years? February 10th, 2020. Yes. That was right before the
Such an
shutdown.
awful time to
6
go through a
years.
divorce.
Oh, it was terrible. It was
Yeah.
absolutely
I mean,
terrible. 'cause-
divorce is lonely, but then you went through a COVID. Like,
yes.
wow.
Complete shutdown. I
Yeah.
even did the mini marathon virtual. I was utterly alone. It sucked. So yes, I remember I was completely numb, and there's going to be more emotions that come at bay, but I was so fearful. I was so lost. I was scared. I didn't know what my future was going to be like because at the time I was barely working because I was supposed to be taking care of my son. So you have these emotions like, and I know there's stay-at-home parents who have chimed in and became members of this, but it's like you get the divorce papers or you're told about it. You're like, you're numb. But then you go through these other stages, which I'll talk about as well. And then that's when these other emotions and the reality kicks in. So in the very beginning of the emotional waves, numbness was high up there.
Mhm.
And then I did have the feeling of guilt in the beginning too. I remember sitting down and I remember having the conversations with my parents, but I also remember the conversation with my grandfather.
Mhm.
And I felt so guilty, and I felt I let my family down, and I felt like I let God down. So I was majorly guilty. Those were the two in this first series of how do I know that I'm grieving is like, well, I'm like, okay, I was numb and I was guilty. So there was some sadness for sure and all that, but a lot of it was more fear than sadness.
Mm.
Did you have those?
I would say guilt was definitely one of those. Guilt for not being able to sustain our marriage and keep it intact. Probably fear more of what people were going to think of me at the church was a big one.
Sure.
And probably that fear led to the guilt. But I found that I was met with a lot of grace from a lot of people. And those people that did not meet me with grace weren't allowed in my little circle for very long, because I didn't need that at that time. That was too emotional and just not a healthy thing. I didn't experience sadness. And it's really funny because as I was preparing to talk with grief, I have a very dear friend who has been like a mentor, kind of like a second mom to me for years. And she was like, she would call me and I would be telling her the things that were happening and the divorce process and everything that was going on. And she was like, yeah, but have you cried yet? And I was like, no, why would I cry? Like, have you seen my life?
Aww.
Like, look at the comparison. And she's like, I really think that you need to have a good cry. Otherwise, it's going to hit you at the wrong time. And I was like, I'm fine because my marriage was pretty awful. And
Yeah.
I was preparing to get out of the marriage at the time. So when I finally got there and I got the nerve to finally sign those divorce papers, there was more freedom. I was like, oh, we're good. Things are going to be bad, but we're going to be good. And I remember it was like the slightest thing. I wish I could remember what the thing was that set me off. I mean, it could be easily like I didn't have the right mac and cheese for the day for the kids, and I just lost it in the kitchen and just sobbed. But it was a good year before that hit.
It was.
I mean, yeah, the sadness. And it was short-lived. So, I mean,
was it a good year after you signed the divorce papers or a good year after you filed the divorce?
It was like the year after I filed. We were pretty quick because I filed in September and we were divorced by May. But it was that,
oh my gosh, lucky.
Yeah, I didn't. It was not drug out.
You're lucky.
Thank the Lord.
Yes.
It was pretty easy. But it was some time before it was like, it might have been after my divorce.
Okay.
Who knows? But I do know that it hit like a freight train out of the blue. And then I called her and I was like, I lost it this morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Keep that thought in mind as we continue on with the tips towards the end of this. Also, if you don't know if you're grieving during your divorce, it also encourages you and asks yourself, think about these questions. And if you are thinking about them, then chances are you are in the grieving stages. If you are thinking about what could have been, if you are replaying memories or arguments, if you are wondering things like, what if I had done things differently? What if you are mourning the life you thought you'd have? If you are thinking those thoughts, then chances are, yes, you are going through the grieving stages of divorce. If you have any type of change in energy or motivation, you have trouble sleeping, like I did. I did not sleep very much at all. Or if you're sleeping too much, if you lost interest in things that you used to enjoy, if you are feeling mentally or physically exhausted, and you have difficulty concentrating. I mean, difficulty concentrating can be just about anybody for any reason, but if you have these situations, the chances are, yes, you are going through a grieving process of your divorce. It also continues on that there's an identity shift. Divorce can make you question, who am I now? What does my life look like next? So if you are going through those thoughts and emotions, chances are you're going through the grieving process. A couple more. You're grieving even if you wanted the divorce. Because let's face it, whoever filed the divorce and whoever's going through the divorce, both parties are going to grieve. 9 times out of 10, according to this, if you are the one who wanted the divorce, chances are you're going to be grieving over the relationship because you're hoping that the relationship was something different. You're grieving over what you hoped it would become, and it didn't become that. You're grieving over the family unit and the break of that. You could be grieving over the comfort of familiarity. Maybe you're just comfortable with where you were, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I need this divorce. You could be grieving because now your life is not consistent with the schedule that you once had. It broke that. The interesting part is the combination of relief and grief at the same time is completely normal. So if you are the one who files and you are feeling those two emotions and you're questioning which one's right, well,
both of them.
Both of them are, because it's completely normal.
Right.
Completely normal. Last one, it mentions that if you have triggers that bring up your emotion, grief can appear unexpectedly. It's gonna come. It could come up on the holidays. It could come up on anniversaries. It could come up when you see other couples or families. What if you're invited to a wedding? What do? If you see your kids' event, you go to an event and you see your ex there, you might be grieving, might be uncomfortable. What if you look at an old picture or you hear your song, your wedding song, or what if you go to a restaurant that was your place? Chances are there's going to be triggers that come up with the emotions that can get you to grieve and get you into that emotion where you're like, okay, what is this? That is a trigger. That is part of your grieving. But it also suggests that there's a simple self-check. Ask yourself these 3 questions. Am I mourning the past or the future I expected? Do certain memories or events still bring strong emotion? Am I slowly adjusting, even if it still hurts sometimes? And if your answer is yes, you're likely moving through the normal stages of grief. So do not be ashamed. Do not be afraid. Do not be upset. It's all normal. All of it's normal. Now, what is very interesting is when I was doing this research, I saw two different things. There is one list where it's, there's 5 stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I'm diving in to do the research on divorce grief, and they're like, actually, there's 7 stages.
Okay.
Interesting, right? So I'm looking at them, and I'm just like, okay, very, very interesting. I see the two that's not added, but in a regular stage of grief, you have the first one that's denial and shock. This is where you feel numb, your disbelief. That's the very first beginning part of it, which I was in shock. You have the emotion of anger. It can even come in waves, be resentment. You can blame others. We even have the tendency to blame ourselves sometimes. That happens. Then you get into this bargaining stage where you just want to make a deal. Whether it's with the devil or with God, you just want to make this deal. Like, you know what? If he or she comes back, I'm going to change and do this. Or if I do this, maybe he or she will come back.
Did you do that?
Oh, gosh, no.
Oh, neither did I.
I didn't. But I did wonder
Uh-huh.
what could have been differently. Like, what could have been different? But then later I learned when he told me, he's like, he never loved me. I'm like, well, there's nothing I could have done different. But that's also later on when I kind of discovered myself. And
Right. I think that's an important note. You discovered yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Because you do have to rediscover yourself after divorce.
You do.
Yeah.
Yes. And hold on to that thought too. So after that, there's also the stage of depression, your total loss of any interest and motivation. And this is the time of despair. And then lastly, out of the 5 stages of grief in itself is acceptance. You're trying to find peace again. You start questioning on how to move on. You start joining support groups usually around this stage. And not only for yourself, but even with the interest of helping others. That is the basic 5 stages of grief. So here are the 7 stages of divorce grief.
Okay.
Again, number 1, shock and denial. Okay. Number 2, pain and fear. So this is where I was telling you, you had asked me what I felt in the beginning. I was shocked. I was extremely shocked. And I felt the pain and I felt the fear. Mm-hmm. My heart sank deep in the pit of my stomach. And this is actually noted as the hardest stage of all 7 stages of divorce grief. This is usually when the reality sits in. And I remember crying all the time and asking my mom, like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't even know, like, how do I find a lawyer at this point? Because at that point, I mean, when my ex filed, he already had one. And I'm like, how did you do that?
Right.
I'm like, what do I do? It's the deep feelings of sadness, anxiety, panic. I had panic. I didn't know where I was going to go because, like I said, he told me, he goes, I never put your name on the mortgage, so get out. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. We're married. This is my house too. That's my son too. I'm not leaving. And I'm like, nonetheless, I have nowhere to go.
Right.
My parents live in Fishers, and God love them. They have 2 dogs that I can't stand. But I was like, yeah, I can't go live there. And then
you have a baby.
Right. I know. Exactly. I was like, I have a son too. And my ex.
Not only do you have a son, you have a young one.
Yeah.
He was young.
He was young. He had just turned 2 when we got the preliminary order.
Okay.
So when he actually filed, our son was not 2 yet.
Right.
So in Indiana parenting timing guidelines, if a child is under 2, you have to rotate every other day. It is not a 2-2-5-5. It's not a 1 week on, 1 week off. It's every other day. So I'm like, I'm not moving to Fishers. I can't do that right now.
Right.
And then
COVID hit. So you really couldn't have done that.
No. But then, even then, it's like he had to leave because the preliminary. And because the whole battle was the fact that, like, he has his parents who live in this gorgeous golf community.
Mm-hmm.
And his daddy already had him set up in an apartment in that community while we go through the process.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, he's planning on all of this, but he still wanted me on the house because he put it up for sale. And I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't work. So thank God. God, thank you so much. I got the preliminary. It was literally Good Friday. The preliminary order came in, and he already had his stuff boxed and ready to go. And I'm just sitting in the living room holding my son, watching, I think, Peppa Pig or Paw Patrol. I can't remember, one of the two at the time. And just hearing him go back and forth with the boxes. And I'm just staring at my fireplace. My son's watching the TV, and I'm just like, thank you, God, because I didn't know where I was going to go. But you have those feelings of panic. You have those feelings of fear and the pain. You're just like, where am I going to do? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? What am I going to do for a job?
Right.
Because in Indiana, that's the first thing they tell you.
It's
if you
the
are
very
a parent
first
who's
thing they tell you.
not working, they're going
Yep.
to tell you, get a job. Every time. Get a job. So I totally did that. That was the hardest stage. It absolutely was. So not only was I fearful about all of that, and I panicked like crazy, but I had a fear about the finances. Let's face it, like, he didn't want me to work as much as he did.
Right.
He went off and got a lawyer. I mean, it's $2,500 down on average, plus their hourly rate. His lawyer was $300 an hour.
Wow.
So then I had to figure out how in the world I was going to pay a $2,500 down to my lawyer, and my lawyer, thank God, was only $250 an hour. But I'm like, wait, how am I going to pay for that when I'm barely working?
Right.
That was a scare. And thank God for my family. How about, like, you start worrying about, like, the kids or the future? Like, where am I going to go?
Right.
What am I going to do? Where am I going to work?
Right.
What is going on with my future? That's the reality. That's the hardest stage. Even the emotions, you're raw, you're vulnerable. You just don't know. And you feel so completely helpless, but you have that fear and that pain. That's why it's the hardest stage. Then it's going to go back to the other stages of the regular grief, where it has anger, your bargaining, and the depression, and your acceptance. So here's the other one that was not listed in the other list.
Okay.
The growth and new identity.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. So what you had mentioned earlier, this is the 7th stage of divorce grief. This is where your transformation takes place. You start to feel stronger. You start to have more self-awareness. You start rediscovering who you are. And you're open to new possibilities, but not just the romantic possibilities, but you're open to new possibilities, whether it's a career change, whether it's a new city, whether it's, something. Maybe it's a new religion. Maybe it's a new practice for yourself. Maybe you want to go run a marathon and you've never done it before. You're just open to a whole new world.
Right.
So this is actually the fun stage. It's that transformation that takes place. It's the growth and the new identity of who you are and who you are going to become. That is the last stage of the divorce grief.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good place to be.
It is a good place to be.
Yeah.
And the side note to this is that you don't graduate from one stage to the next.
Oh, no. You can easily go from one stage and fall back.
You can easily go to one
back
stage and fall back.
And
So
then bounce 2 more.
exactly. You might feel really strong, but yes, I'm almost done. And then boom, you're going to have a trigger and you're going to be really depressed one day.
Right.
Totally fine. It is normal. It is normal. So if you're going through it, it's okay. Totally okay. So those are the 7 stages. Those were the 2 major differences between grief and divorce grief. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So we know the griefs. We know what happens. We know the stages. So now, how are you going to cope with it? Well, I researched and found 11 different unhealthy ways to cope with grief. And there's some that I did, for sure. And I'd be curious if
I'm really interested to find out. There's 11.
There's 11.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean,
I can think of like 2.
Well, I mean, some of them are very common, right?
Okay.
So you have alcohol or drug abuse. That's
That
the
was a
number
given.
1.
Yeah.
That is a given. Sex addiction.
Ugh.
That's a given.
I mean,
Or
yeah.
like multiple
Those
partners.
were my first top that I did not do, but those were my two that
I will.
not my problem.
Yeah, I mean, I did drink more, but I did it to put myself to sleep on the nights I didn't have my
Yeah.
son.
You admitted it was during COVID. I mean, a lot of people were drinking.
Yeah.
I remember driving around during COVID and I was like, all the stores are closed, but why are the liquor stores open?
Right?
Because that's what people were doing.
That's exactly what
Very
people
sad.
were doing. And in
Yeah.
fact, even Mexican restaurants were allowing margaritas to go.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So at one point, I actually lived behind a Mexican restaurant. So I would walk over there. But in Indiana now is an open container law.
Yeah.
So like we had the Super Bowl one year and then boom, you can walk on the streets. So thank you, Super Bowl. Thank you, NFL. But yeah, that was one that I went through. And like I said, there's sex addiction, multiple partners. There's gambling. Gambling is another unhealthy way to cope with grief.
Okay.
Self-harm.
Oh,
That was one,
okay.
right? Eating disorders.
Makes sense.
I did
Actually,
not eat.
yeah.
I
makes
did not
sense.
eat. And I didn't not eat because I was thinking of not eating. I wasn't eating because my mind was so gone.
Yeah.
My mind just wasn't there. I was so lost and I was so closed off. And I mean, I weighed myself at one point. I was 65 pounds.
Oh, girl.
I was completely depressed. I was completely lost. I was scared out of my mind. And I was even more scared that I wasn't going to have my son because that's what he wanted. He wanted
Right.
full custody, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, why?
Why do they always talk like that? Like,
don't-
I mean,
I guess it's a scare
your dad
tactic.
says scare tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like mine would say, you're, prepared to move. You're not going to keep the house. You're going to have to move somewhere. He would tell my kids, you're not living in that house. Your mom's not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to get out. Like all these scary things. And it's like, why can't we just go through the process? You don't have to just stop talking.
Yeah. I don't know. But at the same time, I actually kind of felt bad for him later looking back at this because when he told me, I'll never forget the words.
I think the consensus is we don't feel bad for him
from
from the eyes I'm looking at in the room. Sorry.
Well,
But you do you.
yeah, I felt bad for him in the sense of he grew up with that. His
Yeah.
mom was addicted to opioids, took off and moved to a different state and had no relationship with him. So his dad and stepmom and sister raised him to be who he is today.
No.
So I think mentally, a lot of lawyers that I talked to at a lot of consultations, I see that, Dad. A lot of lawyers in consultations said that it all sounded premeditated. And looking back, I'm pretty sure it was. And for him to actually say on January 14th of 2019, the ship has sailed a long time ago. I've never loved you. I didn't know how to tell you. By the way, I've never put your name on the mortgage, so get out. Like that right there that puts you in a place of utter shock. But I was so out of it that there was no way I was going to give up my son to. Like he's half me.
Absolutely,
That
yeah.
little nugget is half me.
Mm-hmm.
The good and the bad. He's half me. And I was just so mentally distraught that I wasn't eating. I was drinking myself to sleep when I didn't have my son. I had all the TVs on in the house. I had all the lights on in the house. The music was even on certain rooms. And I had to do that. But I never thought about eating because I was never hungry.
Mm.
That's what stress will do to you too.
Yeah.
You go through so much stress in your life and it's just like, you don't think about food.
You don't think about food.
You don't think about food.
Right.
And even the weird thing is about this, I didn't even think about food when we had showings at the house and I had to take our son and leave to go do his showing.
Mm-hmm.
I would take him to go eat. I remember one time I'm sitting at a Chili's restaurant and my son is downing the chips and salsa because he loves the chips and salsa. And I'm just staring at him, watching him eat. And I'm not even thinking about eating. And it was the weirdest thing. And I'm watching my phone because I'm like, okay, is the showing over yet? I'm waiting on the text message so I can go back home. And there was this couple who was dining with another couple. And I want to say they were probably in their 70s. And they were watching us. And I'm just sitting here watching him eat chips and salsa. And one of the gentlemen of that table comes up to me as they're getting ready to leave, and he taps me on my shoulder, and he goes, "You're doing a good job." I was like, "Oh, don't. You're going to make me cry." He obviously knew there was something going on.
Right.
But yeah, so eating disorders, it's not that everybody intends to have an eating disorder. It's just something that stress and grieving can actually consume in the brain to where you're not even thinking about eating. But there are other eating disorders, such as bulimia, people who actually make themselves throw up. That's a completely different mental situation, but it could happen as far as an eating disorder in regards to an unhealthy way to cope with grief. The next one is a violent behavior. People are going to lash out. People are going to go through the stages of anger. They can get violent. So getting violent, especially in front of kids, not a good thing.
Not a good
healthy way to cope with grief, okay?
Deal with your stress and deal with whatever you're dealing with. Don't act violent.
Exactly. Excessive spending or shopping. That is an unhealthy way to cope with grief.
Oh, a little retail therapy.
I know. I kind of looked at that and I was like, well, maybe I'll wait till the divorce papers to go buy a new bag. I don't know. Withdrawal and isolation. That was my problem.
Yeah, I can see that one.
Yeah. I isolated myself from a lot of people. And then, of course, with COVID, that was easy to do. Another one, number 9, increased risk-taking behavior.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that would go up with number 2, multiple partners. That's some risky behavior.
Right? But, I mean, think about it. Like, people want to go bungee jumping, skydiving.
Right.
They want to do everything that is just such a risk. You know, maybe who knows, whatever the risk would be, but they want that drive. They want that adrenaline. They want that rush. It's like, okay, screw it. I'm going through this. I want to go do all that. I want to be a risk taker on everything. That kind of mentality, too much of it can be unhealthy. So that was pretty cool to hear. Self-care neglect. Now, I think as moms, that's kind of what we do.
That's kind of what we do.
That's exactly what we do.
We're usually last to come in.
We are.
Yep.
Self-care
Everybody
neglect.
goes first.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then the last one is ignoring the process, which is a big one.
That's probably the one I did. I just ignored it.
You ignored it?
Probably.
Okay. And what's interesting is
because I didn't do any of the other ones, but I did ignore.
Okay.
I just picked myself up by my bootstraps, got a job, did all the things I was required to do.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
And I find that interesting because 9 times out of 10, it's the men who don't want to talk about their feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to get into this here in a second, but the fact that they acknowledge it, it's like, don't pretend it's not happening.
Right.
It's like, you got to accept the process. So moving on to that, there are different ways to cope with divorce, grief. And what is interesting, as I was about to tell you, is that there's 2 different lists here because there's only 3 that are tailored for women. However, according to fatherly.com, it is a website. It's for men who go through divorce grief. There's 16.
Wow. And there's only 3 for women?
There's only 3 for women and there's 16 for men.
Oh.
However,
why?
Well, I think, again, a lot of it is because
we're resilient and we just pick it up and just move on.
You put on our big girl britches.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, so the reason why is because it's actually noted in the article, men generally don't talk about feelings. That is why there's 16 instead of the 3 that women do.
Okay.
Because it is easier for women to talk about the feelings. However, I will admit, though, when I am reading through this, when it comes to the men's side, I see a cross.
Okay.
There's things that women need to listen and do as well as men. So I see this, but I also can see how this can be for both men and women.
Okay.
So for women, healthy ways to cope with divorce grief. Number 1, give yourself grace and love.
Oh, I thought we were going to go smash things.
Oh, you can, and I'll be talking about that here in a second.
Okay.
But the first thing is first, though. Understand that you don't have to have everything, nor do you need to be completely put together all the time. Not all the time. you're going to fall apart. You're going to have a mess. I lost my shit the other day because I am overcommitting and undelivering, I felt like.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also, I will admit, this is a grieving process for my family because I just buried my grandmother 2 days ago. And here I am talking about divorce grief during a week of actual grieving.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? But I promised this was going to be the topic. I chose this topic weeks ago, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
But again, women, give yourself grace, love yourself, do something for yourself, but be okay to not be put together 24/7, okay? Walk out with a messy bun and sweatpants if you wanted to. And if you wanted to keep your slippers on, like I accidentally did when I took my son to school the other day, feel free to do that too and be okay with it. I was so embarrassed. I got back in my car.
Did you get out of the car? Oh, you got out of the car?
No, not at the school.
Oh, okay.
Not at the school. But I got home, pulled up in my garage. I get out of the car, and I walk inside, and my laundry room is where I keep my slippers. They're kind of like house slippers, okay? They're not the cutest, but they're pretty baby blue, and they're a pair that my grandmother got me for Christmas. So I wear them all the time because I think of her. And I'm looking around. I get inside the house, and I'm looking for them. I'm like, what did I do with them?
They're on your feet.
I was wearing them. So it's okay
That's
to have
okay.
mental problems.
You didn't walk him into the school
Not
and
be
then
all
into
put
the
together.
office and say, this is why he's late.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I don't think my son would have noticed anyway, so he would have been embarrassed.
But if you did do that, it's okay.
It's totally fine. Who cares?
Right.
Who cares? So the second thing is consider participating in a morning ritual. I don't mean morning AM. I mean morning, MOURNING. So here's some ways to participate, ladies.
Okay.
Write a goodbye letter.
No.
I don't have the nice words
Okay,
to say
good
in a
riddance
goodbye
letter.
letter, right? Yes.
You know what? I do believe that works for some.
It does. It does work for some people.
Absolutely.
In fact, it even adds on journal your process and your emotions. So for some people, if you got to journal it, oh, cool. You know, it's a process. It helps
You know what?
get
I
rid
don't
of
want
it.
to write that stuff down because if I die, like split second and people got to go clean out my house, they don't want to know what I'm saying in that letter.
You could throw in the fireplace, I guess, if you want. Fire
You
pit
can
outside.
write it and then burn it.
Yeah. Write it and
Okay.
burn it. Write it and burn it. You're getting it out of your system.
Okay.
That is just another good way to get it out.
You know,
It's a good way to
all
cope.
the thoughts that are up here, those don't need written down. Not pretty.
Well, maybe some of these other things will work for you. There's another one that says, creating a list of what you are both losing and gaining from the divorce. So write a list of what you are losing and you are gaining through the divorce, and then write a list of what he is losing and what he is gaining through the divorce. Because let's face it, when you're going through a divorce, my lawyer and multiple lawyers have told me time and time again, number one, courts are reactive, not proactive. And number two,
I wish you were sometimes proactive.
I know, right? But also, when you go and face that divorce, and even if it's a mediation, you both have to come out. First of all, know your numbers. Always know your numbers. Second of all, understand that when you walk out that door, you both are losing. So the question is, what is it that you are willing to settle for?
Right.
What is it that you are willing to walk away with?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, nobody wins. You both lose.
My attorney told me that no one should walk out of the room happy.
Yeah.
And that's legit. That was correct.
So the next one you might like, and I don't know if you did or not. I'd be curious to know. Angela, did you burn your wedding dress?
I did not burn my wedding dress.
You didn't?
No, I did not.
Okay.
It is shoved in a closet. Did you?
No. It's shoved in a closet too, but I did list it for sale.
Oh, nice.
Oh, girl, I got like one bite and the person was like, "Can you mail it to me?" Like, yeah, no. I'm not mailing it. But anyway, like that is considered a healthy
That does sound
way.
like something I would do.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought that's why I'd asked.
Yeah.
I was like, did
But
you
I
do
have
it?
girls, so
Okay.
yeah.
So let me ask you this. Did you keep your wedding ring?
I still have my wedding ring.
You still have
It
your
is
wedding ring.
stuffed in a jar. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you still have yours? I think we've talked about this
Yeah, we did.
just slightly.
I do still have mine, but I tried to take it back to the jeweler where it came from with the paperwork. I tried. I was like, can I do a trade? Can I do this? Can I do that? And they denied me.
Oh.
They're like, we're not doing any of that right now. I was like, what do you mean not right now? So I don't know why, but I was like, fine. So I took it back and it's in my safe still. So yeah.
I'm like hopeful. Maybe, I mean, it's tainted, so I feel like it's kind of bad luck. But maybe if one of my girls, you know, when their boyfriend or whatever is like, I want to ask for a hand in marriage, maybe they'll want to wear it. I don't know. Maybe it's
like bad
maybe
luck,
it's
girl. It's bad juju. Yeah,
I know.
don't do that.
I
Don't do that.
know. But I just can't get rid of it. So
okay,
I don't want to wear it, but I can't throw it away.
Okay, well, the other option for this is actually to make a memory box. So I guess you can create a box if you wanted to, and then put that ring in there. But yeah, I would never make a memory box.
Where am I going to put that? Under my bed?
In the fireplace? I don't know. There's no way I would do a memory box myself. Another option to go through the coping of divorce grief in a healthy way is to throw a divorce party.
Oh, yeah. I think we went out for Mexican, didn't we? We did. Yes, we did.
That's awesome. I saw in the papers, it was like 6:30 at night in our fourth mediation. And I had to go get my son. So I spent that night with my kiddo.
Oh.
So I was like, okay. So, but I did get a shirt. I ordered this shirt that says divorced AF, but it's still folded up with the tags in the drawer. I never wore it, but I was happy to have it. Also, lastly, which I don't know that I would do because I really don't understand the value or the significance of this, and I'm curious to know what your thoughts are, but it says light a candle on the anniversary of your divorce and marriage.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know why I would want to light a candle on that. I don't know. Usually I think if you light a candle, it's a good thing. You want to celebrate it. So maybe you want to celebrate your divorce, but I don't know.
Mine is coming up. I won't be lighting any candles.
Yeah. I don't get it.
I could burn something. That might happen.
Your wedding dress?
Maybe.
Okay, so this is the twist. Here we go.
Wait, was that the girl list?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the list for females. So, men.
I think there's so many other things they could put in there.
I know.
That are so much healthier.
Oh, I agree. You can always go to Tractor Supply or Rural King or something like that too. Oh my gosh. My mom and I, we were just talking about that with my Aunt Jamie. Was it on Wednesday at the funeral? We were laughing about it because my aunt was talking about going to Tractor Supply and looking at batteries.
Oh, looking for batteries.
Yep. It was so funny. So,
wait, who was this?
One of my aunts.
Which one?
Jamie.
I know her.
The youngest of the six.
I know. I know your Aunt Jamie.
Okay. Yeah. So my mom was laughing now hysterically. Yeah, she actually likes to go to Tractor Supply and see if she can't find a single farmer.
Well, that's where we said you should go.
It is. It is.
She might need to go to Ace, though. She might have a little more luck there.
Would she really? Every time I go to Ace, I never see anybody in Ace.
Those older men are over there. Don't tell her I said that. Oh, and if you're listening, I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you can try Ace, Rural King. I heard women like to walk around Rural King when they see a guy holding a cart, a shopping cart, talking to another guy.
I have not been to a Rural King. I need to go.
They have popcorn there. You get. Like, you can go in and, like, pour yourself popcorn and, like, walk around the store.
Nice.
Oh, they do that at Ace, too?
They do that at Ace, yeah.
That is so funny.
I know. You know what? As many times as I've been to Ace Hardware, I've never seen anybody walking around the store eating popcorn.
I didn't know they had popcorn.
They do.
Is
it's
it
usually, like, right there at the entrance. Yeah, the double doors.
I miss it every time. Okay. Well, if you walk around with popcorn.
If you walk around with popcorn. Don't mind me. I'm just checking out the merchandise.
Oh my gosh. Nikki, that's funny. Okay, so if anyone did not hear her, we just heard a comment saying that if you are walking around Ace or anywhere with popcorn, then chances are you are walking around single. So, okay, men, 16 tips to get through the divorce grief. And why are there 16? Because it is recorded that men generally don't talk about their feelings. So here we go. First and foremost, recognize that your marriage is over.
Oh, yeah, please do.
Recognize that. And if any hillbillies out there listening, it's called redneckinize, okay? So redneckinize that your marriage is over. Number 2, be patient. Grief takes time. Now, see, that one, I can kind of see that would be both men and women.
Which one is that?
Patience.
Oh, yeah.
Be patient. Grief takes time. I am not a patient person, so that one kind of struck me as an accord. 3rd, surround yourself with people that support you and will support you, and let them.
Now, that's an important one.
That one I took to heart too, because I isolated myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't want help from anybody. I just wanted to bury my problems, and I just wanted to be by myself.
Right. I'm a very, I can do it myself kind of person.
Yeah.
I'm not the one person that's going to ask for help. And I was overwhelmed by the people that reached out to me and supported me through the whole divorce process and supported our girls. And they just, I mean, some of it was like financial, and I certainly wasn't asking, but I think they knew, like, you're going from being a stay-at-home homeschool mom trying to get her bearings and trying to get out there in the workforce and supporting yourself and your girls. Just so many people just reached out and just loved on us. And it was really nice to have people that just supported you and weren't there to hear the nitty-gritty ugliness of divorce. They just wanted to love and just love you and love your children and support you the best way that they could.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And what I think is also super important is that when you're going through a grief of a lost loved one, someone passes away, churches, people, they are so easy to go up and be like, let's make a meal for you. Mm-hmm. They're going to bring meals for you. They're going to pray for you. They're going to do everything because you lost someone.
Right.
But when someone files a divorce, who's bringing you meals?
Right.
Not very many people. They're
not a lot of them.
But if they do and they want to help you, whether it's food, whether it's finances, whether it's support, whether it's helping you take kids from one thing to the next, let them.
Yeah.
So that I do feel.
Watching your kids so that you could just be by yourself.
Oh, I mean, gosh, that's a good one too.
I had somebody do that. Can I come and get your kids? My kids want to have a play date. Let me just take yours to McDonald's and you can just have a couple hours to yourself and just do whatever you need to do. Like those simple little things that people just reaching out and doing the tiniest things that made huge impacts.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the big thing is to let them.
Let them
do it, guys.
I think that one goes for women too.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
If you're like,
yes,
I'm assuming us,
yes.
do it yourselfers. And I mean, if my toilet is clogged, I'm going to try to unclog it myself. You know, we're not going to reach out and ask for very much help.
I call my dad.
I mean, I do call my dad after I've tried to fix it myself. But
I just call my dad. But I isolate myself. I don't let people help me because I isolate myself.
I isolate. It's so important to let people love on you and love on your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm right there with you. I think it goes both ways.
Absolutely.
So number 4, men, practice excellent self-care. Again, that's for women too, I believe. But practice excellent self-care. Take care of yourself. And I don't know.
Which is so hard during divorce if you're going through all of those stages.
Oh, totally.
Especially if you're reaching the depression stage. You're not taking care of yourself. You're probably not grooming like you should. You're not shaving, or you're not eating. You're not doing the things that need to maintain your body. And you need to take care of yourself.
Totally.
Because when you look haggard, you feel haggard. So you need to take care of yourself. You need to redneckinize.
Someone over here going, what's wrong with my beard? Redneckinize, guys. But yes, so self-care, that's a big one. Next is feel your feelings. Embrace them. So if you don't know how to feel your feelings, there's help for that. There's meditation for that. There's books for that, audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube channels. Like there's so much for that. But really start to learn your feelings through this and just embrace them. Don't hide from them, as you were talking about earlier too. Don't pretend it's not happening, because eventually, like what happened to you, you will have that outburst at some point and it's going to come out.
Yeah. Me and God had a lot of conversations, like coming to Jesus moments. Like, why are you allowing this to happen? And I think that those are very real situations and real conversations that you can have with God. I don't think he gets off put by those or certainly not upset with any of us. But like, why am I going through this? Why are you allowing this? How am I going to get through this? We had a lot of those talks during the divorce process. And honestly, we probably still do, because even though my divorce is final, when you're in a high conflict divorce, those things don't end. So it's always constant having those conversations.
Always.
Always.
So, by the way, has anyone been chiming in and listening to our live?
I went and looked, and I don't see our live.
Are we not live?
I don't think so.
Okay. You see it? Okay.
Okay. Your mom's got it.
Okay.
Your mom is on.
Thank
okay.
you.
I'm sorry, because I tried to get on there.
Okay, that's okay. I just want to make sure. Number 6, here's a good one. Find out what's there besides anger. So anger is generally, it covers a deeper emotion. So it recommends go for a run, go ape shit on a pillow until you discover what underneath emotion you have that's under that anger. Because it's not just anger, it's something more. So whatever that is, if you do feel angry, go do something and release your emotions to help you discover what your other emotions are.
Break something.
Exactly. Go axe throwing.
I know. I was just about to say that.
So much fun.
They have a whole room where you can destroy stuff.
It was so much fun. That room, oh my gosh. I wish it was bigger than what it was.
I know. It wasn't very big, but
it
looked like a lot of fun.
Yes. So go do something. Get that emotion out. Another one, which again is time box your grief. Okay. So basically that means set a timer.
I get this. Yes.
You do. Okay. This I don't, but I'm glad you do, because maybe you can explain this. But you set a timer. Once you do, you go wherever it is you got to go, and you just let it all out during that time.
Yeah.
And when the time's up, go back to your happy place or go back to doing whatever it is that you were doing.
Makes sense to me.
Does it?
Yeah.
Is that something that you do?
I mean, I'm not one that's going to sit there and want to try to feel my emotions. And I know that there are times that's probably why I put everything off during my divorce. But like I've told you, sometimes I just need a good cry. So I turn on a good sappy old movie.
Hallmark.
Watch one.
Okay.
Feel the movie, and then you're done. It's like, okay, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
I think that one does make sense.
Okay. So the next one, and I'll be curious to know what your input on this is too, because I think there's some truth to this, but at the same time, I think there's a limitation.
Okay.
So it says, don't hide your grief from your kids, but don't freak them out either. Okay. It says, it's okay for kids to see their parents struggle and to see you sad sometimes, because you're helping them learn resiliency by developing yours.
Right.
So, yes, it's okay for kids to see you sad sometimes. It's okay for kids to see that what you're going through. And I can see that. I can see how that actually helps them learn resiliency. But then it's like every kid's different. So what does that limit look like? And what is that stopping point? At what point do you, and what is it that you actually hide from your kids? Like if I'm sitting on the foot of my bed and I'm crying, like what do I say to my son if he sees me crying? And then, gosh, I mean, just hypothetically, if I'm crying for 20 minutes, do I just let him see me cry for 5 minutes and walk him out and be like, let me go finish up and then go continue crying? Like I question that a little bit because I don't know how much is too much.
Right. I think it probably depends on the personality of your child and maybe the age of your child.
So true.
Yeah. You certainly don't want them.
Right.
You don't want to say, oh, your dad did this or
no,
this
exactly.
was said. It's okay to say, oh, mommy's had a hard day. I'm just really sad about it. But I think that's one thing that we haven't touched on is children are grieving too. And they're caught in the middle.
Yes,
I mean, you're getting a divorce and you're losing your spouse and you're losing this future that you thought you were going to have. And then you've got children that are caught in the middle that are grieving right along with you. They're losing their parent. They're going to 2 homes. They're staying in 2 homes. Their clothes are being distributed between 2 homes.
Yeah, back and forth.
That is such a hard time for children. And it really doesn't matter what age they are. They're affected either way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was that's a good one. And talking about kids, excuse me, is definitely a topic to be talking about in the future as well. We will continue talking about that. Now, the next one is to write it out. I don't know how many men actually do this. How many actually want to write things out? I think women do it more than men.
I'm
and
sure
getting
there's
some
some men out there
in the room right now.
Well,
so
we have some very manly men in here, so I'm sure there's some somewhere.
Yeah. And maybe some do, but writing it out, journaling it, as mentioned in the women's too, at some point, it's like, okay, you do that. Maybe it'll help you. It's a healthy way of getting through your divorce grief. Here's another good one. And I think, again, this goes back and forth for men and women. Use your feelings as tools for learning. So start searching and finding the lessons in the experience. Once you discover the lessons that you need to learn, either about yourself or what the marriage, how it failed, what could have been differently, like what you can do to self-growth yourself and owning your own faults in the things. Once you actually start finding these lessons, per se, in the experience and you discover them, it will help you heal, but it'll also help you become the best version of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a really cool tip. But again, I feel like that's for men and women, not just men.
Right.
So men, I'm backing you up here. Next one is, this one's a hard one. And I actually think should be tailored for women too. So again, men, I'm backing you up on this one too. Stop blaming your ex. Start forgiving them and forgiving yourself. Now, I know forgiveness is going to be something to talk about in the future. It is very hard to do. I get that. We each have our battles, and you pick and choose your battles. And forgiving is very, very hard and is very challenging. But you've got to stop blaming your ex.
Absolutely. And that one does go both ways.
It does absolutely go both ways.
You got
And I know there's a gentleman in this group who actually reached out to me a couple of months ago, and he's struggling because his ex-wife blames him for everything, and the kids are torn and put in the middle of the situation when they go back and forth.
Yeah, and that's unhealthy. You can't.
Totally.
Your children shouldn't know the ins and outs of what's happening between mom and dad.
No.
And the conversations that are happening.
No, exactly.
Right. They need to just, if it's not a united front, they need to think it's a united front to some extent.
Yes, to some extent, for sure. But the start forgiving them and yourself, that's another key to it. Yeah, I know. It's hard.
Have you forgiven?
I have. And I forgave him actually a long time ago. Again, it was learning about who he is. I had to step back and evaluate and observe and watch him and just learn that's how he grew up. He doesn't know any better.
Right.
His daddy bought him his first house. He doesn't know any better. He doesn't know the value of waking up in the morning to go work on the farm before sunrise, to come back only to eat lunch and to go back out, and you're working until sunset 7 days a week. Like, he doesn't know the value of that. He doesn't know anything other than an 8 to 5, Monday through Friday office job, paid 401k, paid vacation days, paid sick days. Like, he doesn't know anything different.
Yeah. And then he had a mom that just abandoned him.
Exactly.
And that's what he knows.
That's exactly what he knows. So I had to step back and actually think about his mentality and the way he was raised. And I actually started to feel bad for him. I actually felt sorry for him.
Yeah.
And fast forward, we've been divorced 6 years. We pick and choose our battles, but for the most part, we do co-parent well. And I forgive him. I don't blame him. But at the same time, any girl he dates, I'm just like, have fun with that one.
I know.
I'm like, best of luck to you. It's like, I'm not going to tell you anything. You're just going to figure it out on your own. But also to forgive yourself. That's the other big thing too. Forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Forgive yourself. And I know we mentioned in this last podcast, but just keep remembering, God might hate divorce, but he does not hate divorced people.
That's right.
That's just, keep that in your mind. But also when it comes to this, remember, men, this was tailored to men because of the divorce, but remember, you will still be a part of your kid's life. So remember that you will still be a part of your kid's life. Some people had their kids taken away from them, whether it's for the wrong reasons and for whatever reason it may be. But at some point, you will come back into their life. At some point, the kids are going to grow up. They're going to want to know what happened, and they will come back to you. They will want to know. Number 13, focus on the future you want. And I personally added this in, focus on God's plan.
Right.
because nothing was tied to faith here. But I was like, okay, this is the perfect time. And you're going to focus on your future of what you want. Keep your eyes on the future. Keep your eye. What is it that God wants you to do? What it is that you're going through right now, it sucks, but maybe God has a whole new, wicked, awesome door that he's about ready to open for you. And it's going to be amazing.
Right. Because none of this was a surprise to God. Like, God is
No.
all knowing. He knew everything.
He did.
Might have been a surprise to some, but it's not a surprise to God. And he definitely has a plan in your life.
Absolutely.
So focus on that and just be open to hearing what he has next for you.
Absolutely. And we're almost done with this list, guys. So 14. Here's another kicker. This, again, is for men and women. Don't date again until you are ready. And let's face it, guys, if you're going through this grieving process, guess what? You're not ready.
Yeah.
Newsflash, neon lights. Can I have it all right now? You are not ready to date if you are grieving.
Right.
Stop it. Now, this is for men and women, because how many guys out there will continuously date? 2 days after my ex and his girlfriend broke up, he was on dating apps.
Ugh.
2 days. I didn't even want to know how long he got on the dating apps or how soon he got on the dating apps and he filed for a divorce. But people have that. You and I have a mutual person that we know who's a female, and she hops. And it's just like one after another. Less than 24 hours of breakup, she's talking to another guy. Less than 24 hours. So it's just like, stop. And we've mentioned this before in a previous podcast. It is not fair for the other person that you are going to date, nor to yourself. So if you are grieving, newsflash, you are not ready to date. Just saying. Number 15, consider professional help. Again, men and women.
Oh, absolutely.
Men and women.
But I do think our list is shorter because women, I think, are more apt to reach out for professional help.
And, I mean, that happened in my marriage. I wanted marriage counseling and he refused.
Yeah.
So and I think that's another reason why it's probably on this list is because men don't talk about their feelings. They don't go and proactively talk to a counselor. So I think that's why it's on here. But it is for women too. I will argue that. Lastly, oh my gosh, we're at 16 now. Get help immediately if you have more than a momentary thought of suicide. So if you are thinking...
goes both ways.
Exactly. It goes both ways too. If you are thinking suicide and it is continuously popping up in your mind, go seek help immediately. Immediately. And again, for men and women, I think too.
Yeah.
So even though there's 16 tailored for men, a lot of it's for women too. But I do find that kind of interesting how the list for women was so short compared to the list for men. But they're both good.
That's very
they're both
interesting.
good. Absolutely. So I kind of wanted to wrap this up. I know it's a little over an hour here, but we did learn all about the grieving. What is it like? What does it feel like? How to get through it? Healthy ways and non-healthy ways. And I know one of the biggest questions that people are going to have if you're going through it now is, when will all this be over? And the only thing we can say, and the only thing the researchers could say, is that it will be over in time. Embrace the process. Go through the process. It's gonna happen.
Right.
Just go through it. The only way to get to the end of it is to go through it.
Yeah. Experience all those emotions and stages of grief. The more that you let those stages fill you and you work through those, the faster the process is going to go.
Exactly. And if you do go through all the processes at some point, you're going to look at least a year. That's kind of what you're looking at.
I think what I
It's
read
at
was
least a
1
year.
to 2 years.
It'll be a minute for sure.
Yeah. And that's okay because look how long divorce usually takes.
Oh, forever.
So, I mean, you're going to need that healing time.
Yes. But I do promise you this soon, at some point, this too shall pass. It will all pass. It will pass. I promise you, it will all be over someday. But I know you also had some scriptures to include for tonight too in regards of grief.
Yeah. I think the last one that I want to close with is that there's healing and there is hope, and that healing is possible even if it's slow, because, everybody experiences different things, and there's no end point or expiration point put on divorce. You don't know when it's going to happen or when it's going to be finalized. So it is a slow process, and that's okay. You need to allow yourself to heal. And I just wanted to read Isaiah 61:3. It says, "To all who mourn in Israel, he will give a crown of beauty for ashes, a joyous blessing instead of mourning, festive praise instead of despair. In their righteousness, they will be like great oaks that the Lord has planted for his own glory."
Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So this is going to wrap up our emotion grief podcast here. So yeah, I appreciate everyone who has come in person. I appreciate everyone who's watching Facebook Live and listening to us live. It is going to be uploaded on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that fun jazz as soon as we're done. And so, Miss Angela, if you wouldn't mind closing in prayer, those who want to stick around and listen in, feel free. If those who do not, thank you for joining in. Go and make it matter.
Okay. Lord, we just thank you for all of those that are gathered here with us today. And whether they're here in person or online, or maybe they'll be watching at a later date, we just pray for those that are currently experiencing a divorce and maybe they're going through the stages of grief. We're so thankful that we serve a God that is in the middle of all the storms with us, that the same God that hung there on that cross, taking upon our sins, that gives us eternal life to live eternally with him in heaven, is the same God that will meet us in all of those situations. Lord, we pray for all of those that are going through difficult times, that you will just surround them with a peace, knowing that just like Isaiah says, that you will take in those ashes and create something beautiful out of this situation. We pray that if anybody is experiencing thoughts of suicide, Lord, that they will seek out help. There's nothing wrong with those thoughts. Those are natural, but you do need help, and we just ask that you will find someone to talk to and reach out. Lord, we just pray that until the next podcast, that all of our listeners will be reminded that we go from broken to blessed together. Amen.
Amen.